Hey everybody, I'm excited to show you guys this intervention. This is based off of a song called Chop Chop Chippity Chop, and this was a song someone taught me a long time ago. I think it was in my internship, and it's a popular preschool song, but I just thought of it again recently and I haven't used it in a really long time. So I'm excited to bring it into my sessions as well because I feel like this could be a great support for a lot of my clients, both young and a little bit older. I think there's some adaptations you can use with this idea and bring in some more creativity for older kids. So I'm going to first show you just the song. It's very, very simple. It's actually a chant, and you can use your arm, you can go back and forth, you can use your legs, you can use a lot of different things for this, but it basically, you kind of pretend you're a cutting board, and you go chop, chop, chippity chop, 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 chippity chop, a bit off the bottom, a bit off the top. Whatever is left, we'll throw in the pot. Chop, chop, chippity chop, 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 chippity chop. So it's very simple, very basic. That is it. So I like to use this a bunch of different ways depending on my client needs. So I've used this a lot in preschool, a lot in group settings, but I've also used it individually. So for group, one of my favorite things to do is use my gathering drum with this one and pretend that the drum is a giant soup pot. And I can use pretend play toys, so some pretend play food, but I also have my iPad visual. So first I'm going to show you how I use it with pretend food. So a lot of times I'll have kids pick a food beforehand. We sing the song. They come up one at a time and they put their food in. So first we'll put in tomatoes, and then I'll take my mallet and we'll stir it up, and then we taste it. Is it good? Maybe we need to add more. Oh, let's add some crackers. Let's add some cheese. And, every time a kid comes up, we stir it, we taste it, and then it's really fun because we get really silly. Let's add a hot dog. Let's add a banana. Let's add a cheeseburger. And then you get really silly and taste it. Is it yummy? Ew, is it gross? And kids just eat it up when you bring in that silly stuff. So that's one of my really favorite ways to use it, is with the gathering drum and as that pretend play of stirring up the soup and tasting it and see how it is. And sometimes even with the gathering drum, I will use a visual like my iPad, which I know is kind of hard to see. So what I'll do with this is, let's see if I can get it in there so you can see it more. I will have, and this is also in the newsletter, so this is a PDF and it should be right under the video. And I put it into Keynote because Keynote is one of my absolute favorite apps, and I'm going to do a tutorial on that later. But so what I do is just have kids pick, there's tomatoes or onions, and this will be more pretend. We won't use anything physical, but we'll say, should we add onions or tomatoes? And then they pick. Then we go on to the next one and a different kiddo picks. Or if this is one child, they can go through all of them. So then we went through these three, and then after those three, what I like to do is work on some academic or cognitive skills and say, ooh, did we add onions or squash yet? No? Okay, let's add this one. Ooh, did we add carrots or tomatoes? What do we recall that we added? So it can be really great for memory recall too. Another thing is I'll have a client, if maybe they're working on literacy, let's find the one that starts with a B and add that. So we can do that as well. Then of course come the silly ones. Should we add cookies or burgers? Ice cream or pizza? And some really funny things always happen with those funny things of what kids say, what they want to add, if they think it's yummy or not. Can be really, really fun. So those are a few of the ways that I use that, especially working with hard skills. So academics, naming vegetables in the food items. What do you see? Memory recall. I love doing the starting with a letter for some of those literacy skills is a great way to work on that. This can also be great socially if you're doing this in a group. Kids have to wait their turn. Clients have to wait to stir up the soup. Sometimes I'll have them stir together, and I'll figure out different ways of having them work together while they're doing something. If one child could be putting the food in while the other one stirs and tastes it. So it can be great for social. Emotional, I think, is this can be a great one for doing more non-directive play and kind of having these things available, having a big drum or something something big for soup, and sometimes you could have a play kitchen. And this, sometimes with music, if you pair it with music, if you're not a music therapist, something simple like that chant can really help get the verbal stuff kind of coming out. I've had a lot of kids before that something like chop chop or chop chop, chippity chop, a bit off the bottom, a bit off the top. Now I want to add some orange juice. And then it'll just kind of keep flowing if they have a little structure like that verbally. So it can be really interesting to see what they'll do with that. Also, if you have kids who have G-tubes or any intestinal issues, allergies, this exercise and intervention can open up some really intense doors of past trauma, having to go to the hospital for allergies or food reactions. So this can be very, very heavy as well if you're opening some of those doors. Seeing how kids respond to each type of food. I just had a kid the other day with bananas. Oh, I hate bananas now. Ooh, you really hate bananas. And we, went down that path of she just had a traumatic experience with bananas. So remember to not open a door if you can't help close it, and be wary of those things that you can, some of this stuff with food can go down those directions. But if you have the training and the support to help process through those, then it can be a really great avenue as well. Other ideas I had with this one is adding art and expanding this into a art intervention, or using art by, after doing something like this, bringing in macaroni noodles and doing things like, a paper plate macaroni visual or art piece where you can paint it, you can, add different rice, beans, little kind of sensory things like that. Also, I think this would be really fun for some older kids. Talking about using food and giving different food characters, like, what is a cheeseburger like? What kind of a character would a cheeseburger be? Would it be funny? Would it be serious? And kind of going through, this is where I think some older kids would have some fun with this, of making some type of drama or a musical or a theater piece, expanding into music, however, of using those types of foods and what do they mean. And another piece I think too, especially with some older kids, is talking about how do you eat at home? Who do you eat with? Who makes food? Do you talk about food while you're making it? Is it a big thing, or is it something that everyone does separately? This can give you a lot of information about what happens at home and what type of rituals culturally could be based around food and mealtime. So I hope this gives you guys a bunch of ideas of incorporating some of this into your sessions. And again, reach out and let me know how it goes. I'd love to hear some feedback, and I hope you guys have a great rest of your day.